right now.
Okay. You ready? Amapelas min behema. It said in the Mishnah that if a woman gives birth, and what comes out is in the form of an animal. So we said whether it's tamei or whether it's tar, if it's a male, so then she's tamei as a male, and if it's a female, she's tamei as a female. And if you don't know, then you have the chumras of both. That's Reb Meir's opinion. The chums say no. If it doesn't have the form of a human, then it's not considered a birth regarding tumah. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. As usual, after we say a Mishnah, quote a Mishnah, we start with the first generation of Meir that's going to give some explanation or limitation or something like that. Starts with Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. My time with the Reb Meir. What's the reason for Reb Meir? Reb Meir is saying that an animal that comes from a human, or appearance of an animal that comes from a human, has the tumah of male or female. So look at what it says. Because when God made animals in the 6 days of creation, it uses the word yitzira, just like it uses by a person, by a human. So therefore, it says, Vayitzer Hashem Elokim min Adama kol chayes asad v'es kol eif hashemayim. Hashem formed. The word Vayitzer is to form. There's three words that are used in creation. There's Vayivra, Vayitzer, and Vayas. The Ramban discusses that this is the word that corresponds to the Kabbalistic worlds of Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya. Vayivra, Vayitzer, and Vayas.
Which is the higher one?
Vayivra would be because he discusses like different forms of creation. He mentions the Greek word Eily, that there's some sort of creation that's just like it's called amorphous, that it's not a real substance. It's something like that. Okay, so it says Yitzira by an animal just like it does by an Adam. Okay, the Gemara asks right away, how do you translate tanin over there in the art scroll? Tanina Magdalim are those big whales. Does it say whale or?
We started here.
No, we're going to have a snake later. But no, this is the Tanina Magdalim, the fish, the big fish. So, if someone gives birth to a tanin, well, look, Hayil v'nemer by Yitzira Adam. It says that it was created, just like
sea creature.
Sea creature. Okay. So Nemar. Now over here, the word that the pasuk that it quotes. What is it? My friend had a Yiddish Mishnayos, and he would learn Mishnayos. So it was in Israel. So the Mishnayos didn't translate any of the types of herbs and trees. It says everything was amin gevix.
What's that?
So, a type of growth, a type of amin gevix, you know. But everything was all the same. Amin gevix. Okay. So
Art Scroll does better. They transliterate it.
Art Scroll has one problem. I realized by the last siyum we made, is that they don't translate. I mean, this is an old issue, but it came out. They don't translate Hashem's name. They don't say God or anything. They just say Hashem. So
merciful.
No, and it says Baruch Atah, blessed are you. It says Hashem. It doesn't say God. So someone that's saying a bracha is never yaitza if he's davening in English. If you want to daven in English, don't use an art scroll. Use the Chabad Siddur to daven in English. If you want to use translation, it doesn't matter. But if you're actually reciting the prayers, it doesn't work. You follow? Hashem is not Hashem's name.
I mean, in English, they
write H-A-S-H, right? So instead of translating, it's a big problem for someone that wants to do that. So why did they do that?
Substitute out Hashem for Adosha.
That's the
Yeah.
Anybody do that? She read in English and she put Hashem.
Okay. So, Vayivra, it says, Vayivra likim asatin in Magdalim. It says that Hashem created these great sea creatures. Amri, so the Gemara answers, done in Yitzira mi Yitzira. We're learning Yitzira from Yitzira. Vayitzer. Vayitzer is to form. That it says Vayitzer Hashem Elokim min Adama Kol Chayas Asada, and also says Vayitzer Hashem Elokim Asa Adam. So we're learning Yitzir from Yitzir, not Vayivra.
Yitzhak.
Being done in Bria mi Yitzira. The Gemara says, well, 1 second. You're getting very picky over here about which words. My nafkamina, what's the difference? Hatana de Rabbi Shmuel, this was already taught by Rabbi Shmuel in the yeshiva Rabbi Shmuel, that you're not so picky. And it says, V'shava kayin of ha'kayin. We're talking about the tzaras on the house, to the tzaras has 3 weeks that they would, the kayin comes, and then he closes off the house, and then he comes back a week later. So it says over there, V'shava kayin, the kayin returns, Uva kayin, and the kayin comes. Now each one tells me that he doesn't knock down the house right away. He has to give it another week. So we learn that from, it says, V'shava kayin uva kayin, zui shiva, zui bia. This is the returning, this is the coming. Now, the word is not the same, but both of them have the same connotation. Both mean that the kayin comes back. So, and that's good enough. So Vayivra and Vayitzer should also have the same connotation that Hashem created, and that should be good enough. Va'oid, another question is, Nigmar Bria mi Bria. The fact is that it does say Bria by Adam, that says Vayivra likimas Adam b'tzalmai. So now we can make a limud from Bria by a man to Bria by a sea creature. And if a woman gives birth to a sea creature, that should be make her tameh. Okay. Amri, the Gemara answers, Vayivra legufei, vayitzer lafnuye. The word Vayivra, which it says by the man, that word is not an extra word. That's the original. It has to say Hashem created. So that's the original. Vayitzer is the extra one. We're done in Yitzira and Yitzira. Once it's extra, then we can learn Yitzira from Yitzira. It says Adarabba, on the contrary. Vayitzer legufei, vayivra lafnuye. We're done Bria mi Bria. How do you know which one was the main one, which one is the extra word? Maybe, you see, the two Vayitzers, it says by man, Vayitzer and Vayivra. You compare that to animals where it says Vayitzer. We're trying to compare it to the sea creature that says the Tanin, which it says Vayivra. So we said, no, the Vayivra by the man is not extra. That was the original. You can't use that to compare it to the creature. Vayitzer is extra. We said maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the Vayitzer is the main one, and the Vayivra is the extra, and you can't compare it to animals. You can only compare it to the sea creature.
Why can't you say the Vayitzer is the guf and the nefesh, the hamis, because it would similar to animals, because animals don't have neshama, and the Vayivra is neshama. Because that is the difference between animals and man.
Because it doesn't say Vayivra by animals.
And we have in the Neshama Yisrael. I'm just...
No, it could be all of those come in, could be.
You're going to be
So Ella, the Gemara answers, Vayitzer mufna mishnei tzadim. Vayitzer is open on both ends. That means that by the animals it's also extra, and by Adam it's extra. Mufna gabi Adam, mufna gabi behema. It's extra by the animals as well. Why? It says Vayivra gabi Adam. I'm sorry, mufna gabi behema. Rashi explains why is it mufna gabi behema, because it says Vayas alikim eschayas asada. It says Vayas. So we already have the creation, Vayas by animals. So therefore, once it says Vayas by animals, then Vayitzer is extra. Yeah.
Excuse me, I don't understand this use of this word mufana or the phrase, and it's open on both ends.
Open means that it's an extra. It's an extra. The way it works with the Gzeir Shav is that if I find a similar word in one context, and to another context, I can learn halachas from, because like the word combines those two topics. Mm-hmm. So here we have the same word. it's a gezerah we would translate as a word, like to enunciate. Shava, it's equal. So we have those two words. The only thing is that if the word is extra, then it's easier to make a gezerah shava. If the word was necessary in the first place, that it was necessary and I can't, it's not an extra word, then anything can disrupt the gezerah shava. It's very easy to say, oh, that we need that, it's extra, we can't learn from that. So we're saying over here,
So famous one with Korach, Ada. So
Ada.
Is that open or closed?
I'm not sure. I have to go look at that again. Where was
That's
that?
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's Ad Masala, with Korach.
Right. Ada. So here it says, Vayivra gabi adam mufna, gabi tanina meina mufna. Okay, that's our answer. Vayivra is only open by Adam, but Vayivra it's extra, but it's not extra by the sea creature, because that's the only one it says. The Gemara says, "My mufna gabi behema." What are you saying that Vayitzer is open by animal? Why? What is that from? Available. Eily, if we say it already says that Hashem created the beasts of the field. And it also says Vayitzer, that makes it available, the Vayitzer. By the creature, it's also available. Why? It says all the creatures of the earth. See, it includes the sea creature. The Gemara says no. You'll see in a second. Uksiv, and it also says it says by the serpent, Taninim Magdalim. The Gemara answers Remes Tiksiv Hasan Beyabashahu. That's only of the dry land. So it really doesn't say anywhere else that those sea creatures were created. The Gemara now goes through the basic discussion of what's the difference if it's available or if it's not, if it's open or not. What's the difference if it's available from both words or if it's only available in one word? That's because we have to do a comparison. So, nafkamina the Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. The difference is, Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. What Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Mishum Rabbi Shmuel, they take out. It goes like this. Kol gezer shava sheina mufna kolika. Any gezer shava that the words are not available at all. You can't learn from that.
What do you mean it's not available?
Those words were only said once, and it's necessary for it to tell me what it wanted to say.
So then it's not a gezerah.
It's not a gezerah shava. So far, we'll see soon. Mufna mitzad echad. But let's say one of the words that we're using in the comparison is extra. So Rabbi Shmuel lemeiden be'in mashivin. Rabbi Shmuel holds that's a full gezerah shava where we can learn from there, and you can't ask. Yeah, Rabbi Shmuel is the one that argues with Rabbi Akiva often, and you can't ask any questions on it. And it's a full gezerah shava.
If you have an extra word,
one extra
same
word
in two different places.
And one of them is extra.
That's what we're holding. Yeah. One or both?
One. So far, one. Mufna mitzad echad.
One is extra on one side.
On one.
One has one open.
L'Rabbanan l'meidim meshivin. According to the Rabbanan, you can learn Gzer Shava, but you can ask a question, you can challenge it. Mufna mishnei tzadim. But let's say it's open on both ends. Divrei kol l'meidim meshivin. Everyone agrees, the Rabbanan and Rabbi Shmuel, that you.
That's the true gezerah shava.
Yeah, there's no questions. You can't ask. You can't question it.
This is where it's extra word in two places.
Right. It's interesting that it comes out that Rabbi Shmuel is the one that's doing the extra limudim, and you can't question it. When Rabbi Shmuel is usually the one that says anything that comes extra, it brings the whole parsha with it. He's not into darshaning. Rabbi Akiva was the one that was darshaning, and here we have a stronger. So I saw something here. Oh, the Gillian Ashah says Midivra Taisus and Nazir. It's supposed to be Rabbi Shmuel holds the other way. It's really Lamedim no Meshivin. Anyway, whatever.
When the Rebbe says whatever,
Rabbi Shmuel ma'yeke bei mufne mitzadecha lemufne mishnei tzadim. Rabbi Shmuel, according to Rabbi Shmuel, if one is opened or if two are opened, if both are available or one is available, it's exactly the same thing. You can't question it either way. Nafkamina, he says the nafkamina is the heicha, the ikka mufne mitzadecha and mufne mishnei tzadim. Let's say I have two options there. I could learn from something that's open, or I can learn from something that's only open on. I can learn something that's open on both ends. I can learn from something that's only open on one end, only available. Only one of them is available. So shavkinan mufne mitzadechad. I put aside the one that's open only on one. It would be alfinan mufne mishnei tzadim, and I learn from the one that's available on two. So what's the difference in Rabbi Shmuel? In Rabbi Shmuel, between if it's one of them is open, or both are open. So if I have an option, I'm going to choose the one that both are open, which would mean, and that's why the Eibishter leaves open both ends by the animal, which it says vayitzer and vayitzer, by the man, by the animal, so that I don't learn from the vayivra to the taninim, which is only open on one side.
So we're talking about two possible words. We're talking about two possible words. So they're trying to learn Gzeir Shava. They have a Masorah to learn Gzeir Shava, but there's two possible words. That it could be this one or this one.
Right.
And then, so really, if we're saying it's available twice, that means really there's 3 times that it's mentioned in the Torah. 2 times are extra.
Right. And it's actually not the same word. It's the Vayivra. It talks about the topic of creation of man. Creation of man. I have an option of either learning from the Vayivra or from the Vayitzer.
Then what's the second?
Then I have. If I learn from Vayitzer, then I go to animal and I learn Vayitzer. And by the way, Vayitzer is also available because it says Vayas by the animals. If I use the Vayivra by man, then I'll go to Vayivra of the Taninim, but Vayivra by the Taninim is not open. It's not available. It's the only time it says that.
This is like making hotel reservations. This one's available. This one's available.
So
if I make this, then I can't keep that one. That's why I probably canceling my trip this week.
Okay.
So we have
You need a place to stay. Stay with me.
Yeah, no, I'll probably.
we have a rule of usage
Right.
We're with you.
that we don't creative to come up with our own Gzeir Shava.
Yeah. Right.
And it seems here what we've gotten so far is that manual, a how-to.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I know that's not right. So is he describing? I'm just a little
I
confused.
think Aaron touched on it. You used the word that you said they have a Masorah for Gzeir Shava,
Yeah, they're not true.
and where we're going to apply it. That may be a little bit open. That may be vague.
That's not from a Gemara and Mishnah. I mean,
No, we had before that Ein Lamedim Gzeir Shava Miatzmi. Remember we had that like last week.
correct, but you have to say there's a shot.
Kal v'chaimer.
On the one hand, you don't learn it Ma'atzmo. Like
Ein
we
Adam
said.
Dan Gzeir Shava Miatzmi Elam Ken Kim Lemirabe.
Wow.
We had that.
But what they're Kibel Mirabo, you have to figure exactly what that is. It obviously wasn't this whole thing because they say Rebbe Dol Mai Mamukim.
Right.
Oh, Rebbe makes up such great Gzeir Shavos. What does that mean?
Right.
That sure. You have to say it's somewhere in between. You get some sort of Kabbalah, but exactly how to apply it, you have to do a little work. What I remember from exercise.
I have.
Thank you, Satch.
Get this one.
No.
Consider yourself received.
I think these
It's okay. I told him. I already told you.
So,
Gzeir Shavas that use common words or important verbs.
The Gzeir Shava.
It's really hard. These are not odd words. By Bara, by Yetzer, by
Elliot comes to Elliot.
You're a hoarder.
So
That's for help.
Okay.
You have a warehouse. In your house is a warehouse.
The Rambam writes that a halach l'meshem Sinai
$300.
has no machlekes, and that's what he says. Halach l'meshem Sinai has no machlekes. I saw in a sefer, old sefer, explains that every generation there's that you have a like polar Tanaim or Amirayim where they argue. This one is Chesed, this one is Gvura, and they argue, and that helps get to the truth, because when you see the other side, it helps you see the contrast, helps you understand it better. So he says that sometimes there's a generation where there's one great person that he combines everything, and there's no machlekes in that generation. It's like it's why halacha l'Moshe Misinai, Moshe combined everyone, and it wasn't necessary to have a machlekes. However, if you go through the Shas, you find that almost every halacha l'Moshe Misinai there's a machlekes about.
I was quiet.
So there's someone wrote a sefer several hundred years ago. It got republished. It's called Halacha l'Moshe Misinai. There's no imagination in the titles, but no, he no. Maybe I think it was called Dimion Aryeh or something. Anyway, he goes through each one and he's working them out to see what's the real is the machlekes in Halacha l'Moshe Misinai or in some other application. Okay, fine. Ravacha brei de Rav Amasin l'Mishmei de Rabbi Lazar l'Kula. What we said here about the machlekes Rabbi Shmuel, about how to learn a Gezeirah Shava, we're about to see another way of saying that, and it's not exactly the same. It goes like this. Kol Gezeirah Shava she'eina mufna kol ikar. Any Gezeirah Shava that nothing is extra, l'meidim u'meshivin. You can learn from it, but you can also question it. Not like what we said before, that if it was not available at all, you can't learn from it. Now we're saying we're like one step up. You can already learn from it when it's not available. However, you can question it. Mufna mitzad echad, but if it's open on one end, l'Rabbi Yishmael l'meidim vein meshivin. According to Rabbi Yishmael, you can learn and you can't ask any questions. That's already a full Gezeirah Shava. L'Rabbanan l'meidim meshivin, but not according to the Rabbanan. Mufna mishnei tzdadim. If it's open on if it's available on both sides, divrei kol l'meidim vein meshivin, everyone will agree to that. The Gemara asks, L'Rabbanan ma'yikah bein mufna mitzad echad l'she'ein mufna kol ikar. According to the Rabbanan, what is the difference between if it's available on one side to if it's not available at all? Because everyone said that if it's not available at all, you can learn a Gezeirah Shava, but you can question it. The Rabbanan say if it's available on one side, you can learn a Gezeirah Shava, and you can question it. So that's the same thing. The Gemara answers, if you have two options, you can learn from the one that's not available, or you can learn from the one that's available on one side. And yet don't have a question on either one. So Shavkinan, you leave aside the one that's not available at all, and then you learn from the one that's available on one side. What question would we have over here that would disrupt the Gezeirah Shava to the tanin, to the sea animal? You follow? We're saying that if it's mufna mitzad echad, you can't ask the question. Or mufna mitzad tzadim, according to the Rabbanan, you can't ask the question. And mufna mitzad echad, you can ask the question. So we're going to try to say that we have one question that knocks off the tanin, but you can't ask the question on the chayas. So, what my percha that we would say, mishum di'ikal mifrach. The question is, maladam shkemetam mechayim. And a human being is different than animals or taninim. That a human being can touch it. If it touches a sheretz, it becomes tamei. An animal or a tanin doesn't become tamei. So that knocks off the Gezeirah Shava for the tanin. But because the animal was mufna mishnei tzadim, so the Gezeirah Shava still applies. Dissimilar.
Is that a
That is the first opinion of Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel of the explanation for Rabbi Meir.
You always find something different in the other side.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
maybe
you're
it's mufna. Maybe it's mufna. Maybe it's mufna. I have to go through that. Where was that Gemara again? Was it? Where was the Ada Gemara? The minion. That's like yeah. You go straight, make a left. Over there's a gas station. They'll tell you wherever you are. I'm sorry.
Isn't it Sanhedrin?
It could be.
Yeah,
It could be since Sanhedrin.
Sanhedrin.
Rabbi Chia Barabba and Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Chia Barabba says the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Chia Barabba was the one that recited in front of Rabbi Yechanan every 30 days all the teachings. He did Chazara. His statements, when the Gemara tells us, are very accurate. Hainu time of the Reb Meir, he says, because it says that Hashem formed animals. Amali Rab Ami formed animals like it says by Adam. Right? Amali Rab Ami says, Elamiyata, if this is the way you're going to take things, you're going to say it says Yitzira here, it says Bria there, it says Vayas there. That's what you're going to say. You know, everything that she's going to give birth to is going to say, it's exactly like it says by a man. So it says, Hamapelis Har. If she gives birth to something that looks like a mountain, she should be Tamish Nemerkina Yetzer Haram Uvari Ruach, because Hashem formed the mountains and created wind. No. So she gives birth to a mountain. What is that?
Never mind. I'm not going in with stuff.
Amarlei Har Kima Mikama Peles. Does she give birth to a mountain? Evanu de Makabel. She gives birth to a stone. At most, it's a boulder, but it's not a mountain, right? Hahu Gushikri. That's just called a clod. It's not called a mountain. A mountain is a large something that. This is not a mountain. Okay. Elamayata. She should be tummy if she gives birth to wind. If nothing comes out, it's just the air. The chitem will say, well, maybe it's not extra. It had to say Hashem created the wind. It says me to have a lemich of yetzer haram v'ruach uksiv ubayri ruach. The fact that it adds that in, shma min alafnuye, it must mean that it's making it available. It uses an extra word over there, bayre. Yeah, one second, there you'll see that. Amalei, the answer is done in divrei Torah mi divrei Torah, then done in divrei Torah mi divrei Kabbalah. We're learning from psukim that are in the Chumash. We're not learning Gezer Shabbos from psukim to Navi. The Gemara calls the Navi, the prophets, the Gemara calls it Kabbalah. That's the original Kabbalah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the rule that's used finally, isn't it?
Right. Quotes over here, the Gemara Baba Kama on the side, and done in the Midivri Kabbalah Yalfin, and the Gemara says.
I thought we used to say Gzera Shabbos only from the Torah, but Hekesh was the term used for Nevi'im. That's how
really?
I originally learned that. For the equivalent of Gzera Shav, learned from Nevi'im. That's how I originally learned it. But I know we're not necessarily.
And that quality. Hekesh is good.
Hekesh is good?
Amar, is it Amar here?
It's good or good.
What are they saying out? They're taking a word out over here. Amar Rabba Bar B'Chanam Rabbi Yechanan. Rabba Bar B'Chana says the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Hainu time of the Reb Meir. We have another answer. We were learning. You have a question? We were learning from.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. That's inside.
We were learning from comparisons of the word vayitze. Now we have a new answer. That was Shmuel that was doing that. And we also quoted, who did we quote that said that? Rabbi Chia Barabba Rabbi Yechanan said that as well. Now we have Rabbi Bar B'Chana Rabbi Yechanan. He says, well, the reason for Reb Meir is Hayil Veinayim Daimais Kishel Adam. Well, animals, they have the same eyes like a human, which is round.
What do you do with a cat?
Why'd you say they have blood? That it's like endless.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
no
Ela
that's why I just said
me'ata-
end of davar say. If you're comparing to something,
Elamayat, if that's the
Yeah.
case, Hamapelas Musnachash Teimit Me'aleda, Hayel Vagalgalena, Yagulik Shaladam. What about a snake? Snakes have round eyes also. The Chitim Achanami. So let's say, yeah, okay, good. Snake, we'll throw that in as well into the package. If she gives birth to something that looks like a snake, she'll be tummy. If that's the case, listening Nachash. So why doesn't it say Nachash? The Gemara says, Itan and Nachash, if it would have said Nachash, Havamina Benachash to the Pligi Rabban Alad or Meir, then we would have thought that the reason is not because of the round eyes. We could have thought that the reason is because the likes of Beyitzira. We could have said that the reason why the Rabbanan don't agree with Reb Meir is because, what are they arguing about? Nachash. By Nachash, it doesn't say Yitzira. The Rabbanan the Rabbanan doesn't say Yitzira, that's why they're arguing. Aval behema b'chaya le'pligi. But we would have thought that by animals, it does say Yitzira, and the Rabbanan will agree. The Ksiva by Yitzira, but there it says by Yitzir. So in other words, if it would have said that they're arguing about a Nachash, then we wouldn't have known that the Rabbanan are arguing also about animals. Gemara says, 1 second, this whole thing is a big problem. You're saying that the animals have eyes like humans, but if you look in Bechiris, and over there it says that an animal that's born with eyes like a human, it's a mum. So why are you saying that they have the same eyes?